Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for Season 2, Episode 2 of Satellite Gaming Satellcast. I've got a great show for you guys this time. First and foremost, I have a full crew. I've got Kale, Matt, Chris, and Jay joining myself for quite a few different topics, different systems, and even a little bit of logistics in here. We've got Gears of War Judgment, which, as you know, is the Xbox 360's pretty much last exclusive, and it's going to dictate whether this goes into the night quietly. We're going to be talking about the Legend of Zelda remake for the Wind Waker, which is releasing for the 3DS as far as I know, and THQ sell-offs of all their IPs and maybe how the employees are going to deal with that. First, let's go ahead and talk about the Xbox 360 Swan Song, the final exclusive that's really going to determine whether the 360 fizzles or goes out with a bang, Gears of War Judgment. I really don't know if anybody in here is super excited for Gears of War Judgment. I know that myself, Matt, and Kale were big Gears guys. Jay, not so much for you, correct?
Right. I mean, I know about the Gears storyline, and if I'm not mistaken, I think Judgment's a prequel.
It is.
Yeah.
Chris, you're kind of along the lines of not really caring because you're a PS3 guy. Am I right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Well, we'll get to you in a minute, I promise. But here we go with the Judgment talk. I'm actually going to let Matt talk a little bit about this first. Matt, what are your thoughts on Gears of War Judgment being a prequel? I know we've kind of delved into it before, but why don't you go ahead and give us just a few quick thoughts?
So,
even if you want.
So, around the time the fourth DLC for Gears of War 3 came out, or the third, I'm sorry, I was calling for the fourth one. I was talking to Kayla about it. I said, the fourth one really should do a Baird backstory. He's the only character we haven't gotten a lot into, and they should probably do a Beast upgrade. Maybe let you play as Locust Heroes or something. So we have Judgment, which is a Baird backstory, and not a Beast upgrade, but they merged the Horde and the Beast mode together, so in a sense it's an upgrade. Still no word if you can play as the Locust Heroes yet. Sigh. Let's hope that they do that. Yeah, so they're pretty much, what I feel it's been doing is making what could have been a good DLC and making it into a game that's probably not going to be great according to the Gears standard, but it should still be a fairly solid game overall. Seeing the campaign, they're really merging Horde with the campaign now. Neat in a sense. It's going to be something I have to play to really judge on, but I don't see a lot of... Right, yeah. I'm not seeing a lot of new features, a lot of exciting features that really make me want to buy this game right off. I know that it's going to be neat to see how they do some of the new weapon balances, especially with the sawed-off being 2 shots now. And the new...
It's gonna be annoying.
I'm not entirely sure how the new... I forget what the name of it is, but it reminds me of the DMR, that rifle. So,
okay.
Yeah. I mean, it looks cool, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be neat to see.
Now, with that being said, you got more? I'm sorry.
No, the classic hammer burst.
Yeah.
Shot hammer burst.
So, with that being said, Kale, obviously you heard everything he just said. Now, are you kind of in agreement with the DLC? I know you guys talked about this. You guys were big, partners in Gears 3 there for a bit. What are you thinking more along the lines of how Judgment looks? Would you prefer that to be that DLC?
Yeah, I thought Matt was right. I didn't think he could be wrong about that. I was for sure that there was going to be another Gears 3 coming out. It just looked like it. Or another Gears 3 DLC. Everything was pointing to it, especially, everybody was clamoring, for, Beast support, because they never really did anything with that, even though they said they would. And then they announced Gears Judgment, and I was just kind of like, what the hell is this? And I didn't get excited for it at all. Even after I got, the Game Informer cover story, and, stuff just started pouring out, I just forgot it existed for a while. Now, last night, there was a trailer for Judgment on the Xbox Live homepage, and I watched it, and I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. This looks so good. But then half an hour later, I had forgotten everything I watched. And then I thought to myself, oh, well, alright, there's my point right there. It's, you know what I mean?
I completely agree with you guys. It definitely is a little, it's a tad too much for a full price game, and it's going to be full price as well.
Yeah, Bear's my favorite character and all, and so, you think I'd be, super excited for it, but I'm not. It just almost feels like milking. I mean,
Okay,
and then
to a sense, I don't understand how they're gonna make this Baird stuff canon. It just doesn't seem to go with Baird's attitude that he was a lieutenant and now he's a private. It just this doesn't seem to fit the way the story is unfolding.
Even in the books, he definitely does not have that command mantra that you would expect. Something like even Dom has, but Marcus more particularly, or Hoffman. I
biggest
feel
thing
like
that
it's an ODST fallback.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
It almost sounds like it's basically we're out. But here's what that's interesting. You bring up ODST, and Chris, if you have anything to say here, feel free to chime in. But what I'm kind of thinking is, if Gears of War Judgment had hypothetically came out after Gears 2 instead of going right to Gears 3, would we have the same attitude towards Gears 3? Do you guys think? I know it's major speculation in that, and you've got to really honestly think. I thought Gears 3 campaign was astounding. I loved it. It was so much fun. Now, do you, Kale, I'll let you go first. Do you think that this has maybe shaped your attitude with it because it came out when it's coming out towards the back end of a DLC craze for 3?
Not really. That's not my problem with it at all. My problem is that Gears was a trilogy. It was always meant to be a trilogy. And then, here's a fourth one. I mean, it's the, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but Gears of War style. It's like, it's not needed. Why would you do that? It's cool, that you're bringing it back, I guess, but it's like, why? Stop.
Okay.
You told your story. Don't ruin your franchise.
Alright, now, I'm going to relate this. I don't mean to cut you off, but it's very interesting because I'm going to relate this to yet another Halo game, Reach. Anybody, there's a huge comparison there, whereas we had 3 and then Reach. We pretty much, Gears 3 is following, does anybody think that's what they're kind of banking on, Oh, wow, Halo 3 did it, and Reach was pretty successful in terms of sales, and even critics, I would say, and I would say I was impressed with Reach as well, in terms of single-player campaign and multiplayer, but Matt or Jay or even Chris, what do you guys think about that idea? Does it hurt sales? Does it help sales? Is it even the same thing?
I think it depends where your fan base is at, because I know when I was picking up Reach, I was a huge fan of the books, and I know you've read them all too, Curtis.
Yeah.
I wanted to see that stuff on my TV, and I know that Halo is probably not going to be getting successful. Yeah, they kind of did that. I wasn't too impressed with that. But, seeing Halsey and other Spartans and stuff, because, if you're just I like to play Halo every now and then, you're not going to know that there are other Spartans, really, if you don't pay attention.
If you really, you're really not you're not really missing anything. I understand, yeah.
Yeah, so I picked it up for that. I thought it was a really good campaign. I thought it played very well. I don't know as far as the Gears of War thing, because I feel like, I thought Halo was done at 3, and then they put out Halo 4, which is a damn good game. But as far as me, it's pressing buttons. It's kind of I don't know, how far is 343 really going to take this?
Right.
All the way.
All the way. Well, Chris, now I know you're obviously not a big 360 guy at all. You're sitting there on the PS3, but from a buyer standpoint, would you consider that as milking, or as long as it's a good game, are you happy to drop $60?
I think, I was just about to bring this up, if the game ends up being, really good and it plays to, what Gears fans want, I think this is going to be a moot point, because if you enjoy the game, you're going to enjoy the game. You're not going to remember all this talk before the game. I think it's talk now because these are hypotheticals we can throw out there, but I think if the game comes out and it's good, people are going to remember of it being a good game, not all the talk they had before the game,
All right. Now, that being said, how would PS3 gamer, how would you feel if Uncharted, a new Uncharted game came out for the PS3? Not Uncharted 4, but like a prequel. Let's say the same thing is happening to Uncharted that's happening to Gears. What would you say to that?
I would say is if the new game is good enough and it does well and it's a good game and I enjoy it, it doesn't matter. If it's a good game, it's a good game. I'm not going to remember me complaining about it 3 months before. I'm going to remember it being a good game.
That is a very good point. Now, actually, very quick, we're going to wrap this up on this.
Oh,
okay.
Hold on. No,
Yes.
not yet.
All right.
Everybody is forgetting the biggest thing about this prequel.
Well, hold
It
on.
would
Maybe not, because
A
I've been trying to say something.
successful prequel if they went to the Pendulum Wars.
Oh,
Halo
I agree.
Reach
Yes.
was not focused on the Master Chief. It was focused on the first contact. What Gears of War, the prequel, needs to do, it needs to step away from the Locust. It can have the day one. It can have day one with the Locust in the campaign. But if I'm not mistaken, they fought the Pendulum Wars right up until the Locust burst out from the ground.
Yeah.
You're absolutely
Why? If it's going to be a good prequel, if they're going to truly not milk this franchise, they need to take it where it hasn't been before, which is exactly what Reach did. Reach, in addition to being an amazingly well-tuned competitive game for multiplayer, had a completely different campaign. That is what Gears of War Judgment needs to do. Right now, as it stands, this game could have been released on disc for maybe $30 as an expansion, like the way the Dragon Age or whatever it was did for one of its expansions.
I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember its name.
It was one of the bigger ones, and it could have done that. That's what this Judgment should have been. Or it could be just, DLC add-on. I don't care if it should have been in the season pass as a mini campaign, something similar to Rom Shadow, but no, to judge a $60 game, take us to the Pendulum Wars, give us new enemies, the new weapons are fine. Yes, do that instead.
Okay. Kale, do you have anything to add to that?
I do. The biggest thing that bothers me about this game is that it's not epic. It's not Cliff Blazinski. It's not Rod Ferguson.
Yeah, no,
the people who are making it, it's the people that made that shitty Bulletstorm.
Hey, whoa. That was a good 2 hours of fun.
Yeah, it was. That first 2 hours.
I'm sorry, but I disagree with that completely, because while they are big names, I understand that. Jason Jones wasn't there in Halo 4, guys, and Halo 4, while the story wasn't absolutely perfect, and I will give you that, it was a really good game.
Not because of the story, though.
Well, the story wasn't bad.
It wasn't that good, though. Definitely wasn't good.
Okay.
With Modern Warfare 3, I know this is a terrible thing to compare all this to, but, they had a huge studio split right before that was to be released, and, they lost Vince Zampinella and Jason West, I think their names were.
Who mattered.
Who?
Huh?
Who are these people?
Well, if you don't follow COD, you're not going to know.
Basically, okay, what had happened was...
No, I know what happened. I'm just being a smart ass.
Yeah, it all just split up. And so, they took a huge blow. So, I guess the argument is quantity over quality. You're talking about one specific guy writing a story. You're saying that impacted the game enough to make it bad. But if you lose half a studio of people making it, then it just kind of skates by. I guess that's the argument I'm trying to get at. It's I think that was a major blow.
I just see this as going after, the Halo 4. It's gonna be a good game, but it's not gonna feel the same without the master behind the helm.
That I can agree with.
Or behind the reins.
Now...
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay, final question. Final Gears question. And this will probably cause another hour worth of discussions, but I have to. If this was Gears of War 4, do we look at it the same way? If this was a complete and absolute sequel... Now, granted, I understand that would be kind of difficult with the way everything tied up in 3, but I'm not saying it couldn't be done, and God knows it probably will be at some point. I honestly, do you give the same criticism? Do you consider it milking, especially the way it ended? I would consider a sequel, as much as I hate prequels, I would consider a sequel to be more milking.
Yeah. Because it ended on a pretty good note right there. I don't see any way that this could go on.
Yeah,
I guess you have the Deserter Locust or whatever they're called, the Wild Beast, whatever they are.
Oh, the Lambent?
Rampant. No, not Lambent.
Lambent?
No. The big, angry, pissed off dudes.
No, the ones that deserted the Queen and lived on the surface.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Those.
Berserker?
No.
No, it's.
I know what you're talking about. Anyway.
Savage. There we go. The Savage Locust.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So I guess they're not around either. They killed all of them. Yeah. So it's absolutely milking because it's just a slap in the face to all the people that follow the story. Then it's this guy died, we buried him. Well, guess what? He woke up in a cave 3 days later, so he's fine. Edit that part out.
Anyway, so okay, we'll go ahead and wrap up the Gears of War Judgment. No more Gears of War Judgment. All right, wait. So moving on to actually a completely different area, different developer entirely, and one that again I have to mention that poor Chris does not really care about. We're going to be talking about the Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker remake that's coming out for the Wii U that got announced this morning. A lot of people are excited about that. Kale is one of them. Kale, I will let you have the first word, and then I'm going to cry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Right.
Whatever you have to say.
The first thing I noticed about this launch was there was like little to no whining about it. It was all like, awesome, yes, everyone was excited. But then, I just thought about, 10 years ago, when this game came out, how much bitching and whining and complaining there was about, oh, it looks cartoony, it's for kids, I don't want a sale. But now everyone's excited for it.
I don't want a sale. I just had to point that out. That was the best part in there, ladies and gentlemen. Continue.
But I don't get it. So all that stuff just went out the window. But I do have to hand it to Nintendo, though. I mean, they're not just going to port it. I mean, they're doing a full, Halo anniversary makeover to it.
So they're porting it in HD.
Exactly.
Hey, did Halo Combat Evolved do that too?
Never mind. So that's what I just said.
Yeah. But I mean, it looks really nice. It's going to have full gamepad support and everything. I wouldn't say I'm excited, I can't wait for it. I mean, I'm gonna buy it, but really, I never did beat Wind Waker. I got maybe halfway through it and just didn't play it. I didn't hate it, I just didn't play it. So I'm excited to, have a new Zelda, because I skipped, Skyward Sword, because I didn't have a Wii at the time. So I'm excited to have something relatively new, I guess, per se, for, new Zelda title while I'm waiting for the real, HD Zelda, new Zelda. Yeah. So, I don't know. I just think that it's weird that this controversy isn't there this time, and I can't figure out why. I mean, is it just because everyone just really wants a Zelda on the Wii U, or did we all just come to terms with how much we love it? But then again, Wind Waker was coming off of the success of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask.
Yeah.
Right.
And then, they wanted more of that. Well, even Majora's Mask at the time, people were coming off of Ocarina wanting more, and then Nintendo plops Majora's Mask in our laps. You're like, what the fuck is this? But in time, people grew to love that one, just like apparently they did with Wind Waker.
Okay, now
I don't know. That's just how I'm thinking of it.
No, it's funny you bring that. It's like you bring that up. There's not a whole lot of whining. I've actually heard. I've been reading Twitter. There's a lot of people that are absolutely excited for it. And this is what I don't understand: is why is everybody so stoked for a game that they absolutely despised 10 years ago?
Right.
I mean, this is something that nobody wanted. Nobody wanted Wind Waker. And those that were okay with it weren't really true, your hardcore Zelda fans. And that's how I have to look at it. And not that it bothered me. I'm not a hardcore Zelda fan, so Wind Waker didn't bother me so much. And it's fine that it's coming out now, but I just want to rip into every single person who trashed Wind Waker and who is stoked for it. If you are listening, seriously, where are you at now? You have no right to be excited for this game. You have no right, because you were wanting to pitchfork anyone at Nintendo for being associated with Wind Waker. It bothers me that everybody is so stoked for this game now. And I understand opinions change, and, that was about a decade ago. But nonetheless, at least admit you're wrong. Don't pretend like everyone, because and Kale, you'll be the first to admit this, everyone and their mom's going to be like, oh, I never hated Wind Waker. I never hated it. It was the best game ever. People are going to say that. You know it. And it's just, that's what really bothers me about that community entirely, is just going to be, oh, Nintendo, you're so brilliant for Wind Waker. We were always wanting it. You just never gave it to us. And they're going to be like, wait a minute. Yeah, we did. But, anybody else have anything to say on Wind Waker before we wrap?
I don't know. Like I said, I think it's just, because we've had Twilight Princess, and then we had Skyward Sword, and then we had Ocarina again on the 3DS. I mean, I think people this time is we've had 10 years to play the game. We've had 3 other Zelda games since then. People play those and then they go back and then play Wind Waker because it's not the newest one. They have more options now. They go back and play this one for fun. instead of not because they have to. It's the new Zelda game. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And then they can actually take time to appreciate it instead of just lashing out. I think that's what it is.
Now, real quick, does anybody else have anything to say about Wind Waker? Good or bad?
Classic Nintendo move. Just putting that on the table.
Yeah, very much so.
Yep.
I mean, I know Japan had a tsunami a few years ago, but I mean, it's not too soon anymore. They can develop new games. Actually, what I would like to see if anyone from Nintendo is hearing this right now, for the love of God, put out a Mega Man game. Because only then will I really consider buying a Wii U, because I think that would be the coolest shit. Like, oh my god. But, Zelda, I love Zelda. I've got all the Zeldas on the 64, which was Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time. But, I mean, I'm right there with everybody else. I never played Wind Waker and never wanted to play Wind Waker. I think it's like you said, they put out Ocarina on a 3DS, so I feel like that's why they're not going to port that one over to Wii U yet. But trust me, that's coming. That'll be there soon enough.
And I will buy it again. 500 times.
You know what the definition of insanity is? It's doing the same thing over and over and expecting it to change.
But you know what it does when they still make money off of the thing?
Yeah, that's true.
It's what doesn't make sense. It's like
they still make money. I guess that's not crazy.
Okay.
It's insanity. Like, one day someone's gonna wake up and go, wait a minute, I already own all the other Nintendo systems I have, and it's gonna be that one kid who's 80 years old in his mom's basement. 80. Let's try, I guess 70. Whatever. I don't care.
Anyway.
Listen, the fact of the matter is that Nintendo needs to put out fresh games. They need to stop shortcutting everything. And they need to, I understand Wind Waker, because that's going to be a big seller for them, but stop. Just, at one point, when is it going to stop? Nintendo, I'm talking about. When is it going to stop?
Never.
Nintendo doesn't shortcut. What's wrong with you?
Never.
That's all they've been doing.
He's being sarcastic. Alright,
Wait, no, I'm not. Actually, surprisingly, I'm not. I'm not.
Maybe Nintendo doesn't shortcut. We don't like online play, but oh crap, let's implement it real quick with friend codes. Shortcut! I'm just saying.
I don't know if friend codes are a shortcut, because that's pretty, it takes a while to get that stuff set up.
No, it takes a while for us to get that stuff set up. It's okay for them to do it in 30 seconds with a mediocre netcode.
Look, no. I'm not hating on... I'm hating them because they used to be at the forefront, and now they've let themselves slide back. I understand that they're trying to find a better way to play video games, and I'm all for that. I think that's great. But the Wii U, it's their first HD system. It could have been so much better, and I'm waiting for them to finally put out a system where it catches my eye, because right now it's not doing a lot of good.
Well, and we kind of talked about earlier, Jay, well, I don't know who I cut off, but I'm sorry, just real quick. Like we talked about yesterday and the cast before this, there's still time for the Wii U to catch fire. There still is plenty of time. It's the beginning of a brand new cycle generation. Technically, we're not even at the end of one. I mean, we're at, pretty much the end, but there's still some time, so I just wanted to go ahead and throw that out there. Does anybody else have anything to say on Wind Waker?
Yeah. Right. You say that, it's, God damn it, Curtis, you interrupted me.
Sorry.
You say the Wii U could do better. It hasn't caught your eye yet. What is it about it that you think that?
I'm waiting for a game, a game that I don't already own on something else. That's
the thing. Let me ask, how old are you? Seriously, how old are you?
I'm 24.
Okay, so you're my age. So you would remember the last, two, console generations, we've been around for.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Now, we're still at the very beginning. I mean, everything that's coming out for the Wii U is still considered a launch title. I mean, it's only been out 3 months. That's the thing. I mean, think about when, the Xbox came out. That was one of the shittiest launches I've ever seen of launch games. I don't look at the thing.
Red Rings of Death.
And the people, IGN already even has articles up. Oh, the Wii U's doomed. It's going to fail. The thing's been out for 3 months. Now, granted, I know it's been way longer than average time in between generations, so most people don't really think too much on, what happened at the last generation. But yeah, look at PS3. PS3 came out, what was it, like $700, $800 with.
Oh yeah, that was a slow, really bad launch. And look at them, they turned it around.
Yeah, I mean, same with Xbox. Had no games for the launch lineup. I mean, look at the Wii. You remember how nobody could find a Wii for 2 years? They were sold out. Like 2 years straight. They were sold out. Now look at the Wii. I mean, it was the opposite. The Wii had an amazing start, and now look at it. The Xbox and PS3 were slow coming out. No games for months and months. And then now look at them. You see what I'm saying? I mean, the same. Nobody's giving the Wii U a chance. It hasn't even been out that long enough.
You know why? Do you know why nobody's giving you the Wii U a chance? Because it's still just like the Wii, and I'm gonna say not just like, it's similar in branding. It doesn't distinguish itself enough. The biggest gripe I have against the Wii U is still that the Xbox Live and the PSN network, the online is just far better in the Xbox and Sony, the Microsoft Sony camps. That I have no interest in getting a Wii U just for that reason. I don't care what games they have. If it's all, for me, it's all about the social experience, being able to do stuff with my friends. Yeah. When it takes so long just even to set up a chat or, something like that, to play a friendly, a social game of like Smash Brothers takes way too long, too much setup. It's too tedious. And they have to do that for the family-friendly setup. But that's, unfortunately, if they're going to be a family console, they're not going to pull the hardcore gamers, so even the more casual single gamers at that point.
Yeah, and that's vaguely what we were talking about before we started recording. Like, it just didn't distinguish itself. Like, I think that naming it the Wii U, having that Wii branding was the dumbest thing Nintendo could have done because it's not separating itself from, the childishness of the Wii. I mean, people are still looking at it like it's just a toy for kids. And that's the thing. But I do disagree with you on the online thing, though. What I don't disagree about, how cruddy it is. That's not an opinion, it's a fact. But that's not Nintendo. Nintendo they're not about the online play. Nintendo is about good quality games, that you just play, you and one other person. I mean, like Mario's and, Donkey Kong's. It's, Metroid. I mean, it's all, the experience of the game that you're playing, not the social experience. It's the game. That's why we're still re-releasing Ocarina of Time and buying it, because it's amazing. I mean, we're not still buying Xbox One games. I mean, we're barely buying, GameCube games unless, it's a Zelda game. I mean, who's buying PS2 games? And I know GameCube's a Nintendo system. I say it because GameCube didn't have that many memorable titles besides the 2 Zelda games and Mario Sunshine for some people. Yeah.
Smash Brothers, Luigi Mansion, Pikmin 2.
Mario Sunshine.
And the Pikmin 3 coming out.
Both the Zelda, Metroid Prime, Metroid Prime 2.
Exactly. Which one of those is multiplayer? Which one of those games are multiplayer?
That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm not getting a that's why I switched off of GameCube. I got tired of just playing against my brothers. I got tired of not being able, Xbox Live has become telephone for men. It's ridiculous that Nintendo cannot bring up, if they were to release a Pro system, not even with the Pro system, because even then their games aren't that appealing. I enjoyed, Mario and Kirby as much as the next guy, Metroid, but there comes to a point where it's like, okay, nothing new, I'm gonna move on. And with all the third-party support that, I won't say all the third-party support, but with the more diverse selection of games that the other consoles have had, I'm gonna choose that. The benefits on the others, there are far more on the Xbox than there are on the Wii U. And I'm not gonna buy both. Why? Because I don't feel that Nintendo has justified the price tag for me to relive some nostalgia.
And that's very true, because that's basically gonna be justified as, I guess, a per gamer opinion. How much money are you willing to pay to remember and to have that feeling? So that's, nostalgia is very important. Well, okay, we have ran out of time on that particular topic, so we're going to go ahead and move along. Basically, what I would like to delve into is, it could be awesome. The Wii U can catch fire, and Wind Waker could be I don't want to say this, but a killer app for the Nintendo system, but we're not going to know until it shows up. All right, let's go ahead and delve into our topic here of the THQ sell-off. This is a big deal. We all have probably played a THQ game at one point, or at least know of one that's fun. A few interesting notes. I read that letter they gave to their employees. That was kind of heartbreaking. If anybody else happened to read that, I don't really remember.
A stupid way to fire everybody.
Right, pretty much.
I actually didn't even hear about that. How they get fired?
By letter, pretty much, and it was basically like, well, if you're absolutely essential, you should be offered employment, but if you're not, good luck. We're sorry, and that's it. That was literally. I'm paraphrasing. If I can find the exact what it says, it's just very depressing.
We'll throw a link up.
Here we go. Saying how a small number of staff and whatnot is going to be allowed to go. But if you are an employee of an entity that is not included in the sale, we regret that your position will end. Literally, just that.
Huh.
Literally, that's all it says, and moves on to a small number of our headquarters staff will be employed by THQ beyond January 25th. But literally, it is, if you are an employee of an entity that is not included in the sale, we regret that your position will end. Alright, I'll see you in the unemployment line. Like, no. That's killer. That is, I don't know if there's a good way of firing a lot of people. I don't think there's ever a good way of doing that, but the THQ fiasco is finally done. Now, here's what's important to us as gamers. Where are the games going? Who's going to be developing the next big game? As I think everyone in here is somewhat excited for, while the original Homefront did not do amazing, we all knew that Crytek was developing Homefront 2. Well, they actually outright bought it and only paid, now I'm going to say only here because I think this is cheap, $500K for Homefront for the rights.
What, really? Wow.
Yeah. In comparison, Ubisoft paid $3.2 million for South Park and $2.5 million for the THQ Montreal studio. $3.2 million for South Park? I'd rather burn $3.2 million instead. No bids were placed for Vigil. Another, let's see, Coach Media paid $5.8 million for Metro, and $22.3 million for Volition. Wow, my pronunciation is really off. I apologize, but it's very interesting now. With Coach Media, they're going to be doing the Saints Row stuff, so that's the important part. But anyway. Chris, you were the one that brought up the selling of THQ and the final resolution of that, more or less. What are you thinking? Is this a good thing, or is this a bad thing?
It probably will end up being a good thing. It's a bad thing that all these people got fired. You don't want people getting fired. That's kind of sad. But I think for the future of these games, it's probably best if they're not with THQ anymore. THQ, from what I understood, haven't been doing great in the past couple of years.
You're absolutely right.
It's evident of them having to sell all this stuff. But I think it's not going to be a quick turnaround for these games. But I think over time these games will start to they'll be better, and I think the selling will end up working out for everybody involved.
Okay. Now, with that being said, does anybody else think this is a bad thing?
I think it shows the state of the game industry.
Yeah.
A lot of the people want. I don't know. It's a monopoly basically. Like the company's dissolving and they're selling away the rights. Like that's just how it's going to happen for a little bit. I think the golden generation of gaming is, it's the same age as us. Like it's us. It's going to go with us. And we're
of course,
buying
I'm sure
games.
that the original Doom people would probably disagree with you.
Yeah, and I agree. I disagree with their movie, and I disagree with Rage.
Suck
but
Doom.
I don't know. It's just it's sad because I found out because I'll follow Infinity Ward's Twitter, and the first thing that they said on there was where was it? They said it was kind of like a backhanded offer, is what it sounded like to me. Here it is. It said, our sympathies to all those negatively affected at THQ. Then they hyphened and said, let us help you find a new home, and posted an application.
Well, that's
so.
Well, Does anybody remember? I can't remember what game company did that, but Epic saved them. Was it? Oh, it was the
Was it Ensemble?
Studios with the Kingdoms of Amalur stuff. When that all got sent to Rhode Island and went to court or whatever, when Kurt Schilling's company went bankrupt there.
Oh God, what is that? What was it? What were they called?
It was Big Huge Studios, I believe. And Epic pretty much said, yeah, we know you guys are screwed. Here, you want to come work for us? And basically opened up a new studio for them. So, like, as long as that wasn't a completely smart-ass remark, that's actually really cool, but it could definitely be taken as something negative.
Yeah, I can't remember the last game I played by THQ that I was actually blown away by. Like, I'd say
exactly.
They've kind of been off the map, and it sucks, but that's business. Like, we have the entertainment side, and they have to deal with all the business. So.
Now, I guess the only negative thing I think about this is that it's just one more game developer down, but to be honest, like, if they're not making great games, do we really want them around anyway?
Exactly. They went out of business for a reason.
So,
pour a drink out for them.
Yeah, right. I mean, just take a drink for them, but at the end of the day, that's just how it is. But it's very unfortunate that all those people did lose their jobs, and I sincerely apologize. If anybody happens to be listening from THQ and you want to come on the show, by all means, feel free to do so. But it is very sad that they all did lose their jobs, irregardless. But Kale,
it's not a word.
What's that?
Irregardless is not a word.
Yeah, I know, but it'll be all right.
You've been over this.
Irregardless.
Okay.
Anyway, Kale, you haven't really said a whole lot about it. Do you have anything to say on the THQ thing?
No, I really don't. I wasn't a fan of the games. Like, I played halfway through Darkside 1, and that's about it.
Matt, anything?
I hate Saints Row. The game is stupid. It's just stupid. I really don't have anything to say.
Alright, yeah, that's fine. Pretty much, we're running out of time here, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. Next time, we're going to be addressing the rampant next-gen rumors. As usual, please go ahead and subscribe to us, comment on all of our videos, email us, follow us on Twitter. The link will be in the description. Again, I want to thank Jay, Matt, Chris, and Kale for taking time out of their nights to come over here and talk and give their opinions on the games here. And we've got a lot to talk about when it comes to the next-gen rumors. So, also, in the coming future, our friends at Rapture Studios will be giving us a little bit of their time, and we'll go ahead and talk to them. So be looking forward to that. And we'll see you next time here at Satellite Gaming.